Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Ballin In Da Boot. I am your host, Jace LeJeune, and this is week one, so this is going to be something that we're going to grow more and more of the high school football season. But we're finally here, Louisiana high school football, week one, and we get to talk a little bit about it. Of course, we're going to have a lot of our riders, a lot of our interns. They're going to go around South Louisiana and talk about what they've seen as each and every week they're going to come on the show and talk about what they've seen from their game that they covered for that week. But obviously, we haven't started season yet. So, what we're going to do here is I'm going to take a look at a couple games this week. For Gridiron, I actually won't be able to go to a game this week just because I also call games for Episcopal as well. And I'll be calling the Episcopal night season opener against St. Michael on Friday. Thursday, I was planning on going to Southern Lab and Liberty, but that was also pushed to Thursday because of the weather situation. So, um, basically, with that game, JS Clark, they pushed the game till Thursday. So, I also do some PA announcing as well. They had to move that to Thursday. So I'm gonna looks like I'm gonna be PA announcing for JS Carr by the time the show's been over, and then I'll also be calling the game for Episcopal. But we'll have plenty of coverage for Gridiron football. We have a lot of our riders uh, from all over the state that are coming to cover for football games this weekend. So make sure to check out all of our coverage from all those games this week on gridironfootballusa.com. Now, since it's week one, I'm going to just briefly talk about some games I'm looking forward to just to see how the result ends. This is a loaded week one slate and starts. This game will have already been final by the time this game is but by the time this show has been recorded, but Central and De La Salle is going to be an interesting one. I do a show Friday nights in the boots with Grant Sastre, and I talked with him and Spencer Verrett, who's with the LHSA Network. Talked to him about that game. The thing is, revenge is going to be on Central's mind because as good of a season Central had last year, they lost the season opener. They dropped the season opener to De La Salle. So, with really high expectations coming back, Jackson Furman, he's the Nickel State commit coming back for the Central Wildcats, and they really have experienced team. DK Mays, of course, he's a commit to Houston, and the Mays brothers, you got Kadarius and the Carriers, so they're both really good players. Really Central made a deep playoff run last year, upset Neville in the playoffs, and really should have been in the semifinals. They're on the opposite end of a controversial call. But a lot of expectations this year for the Central Wildcats, and I think everybody's looking at the Wildcats this year under David Semino. I don't think they're really going to be sneaking up on anybody this year. They're the real deal, and this is a team I can really see compete for district championships this year. So, and that's a tough district when you got Catholic High in that district, when you got Zachary in that district. So, it's going to be tough, but give me Central get revenge. I think they had all off season, all a whole year to really get their revenge on this one. So I like De La Salle. I think that it was a rough season at times for them, knowing what Coach Ryman now built there. I know Coach Graham Jarrett's doing a good job over there too. But this is a prime opportunity for Central to prove that this wasn't a fluke last year of what the Wildcats did last year. So give me the Wildcats. I think they're going to end up pulling away at the end this one, but that should be a good one. Next one we're going to talk about is LCA and Rummel. So a lot of headlines here when you go to LCA. We had our Gridiron Football Media Day preview on LCA. If you haven't got a chance to check it out, to learn more about the Knights, make sure to check that out at our website, gridironfootballusa.com. But new head coach, Zach Lockhart, one of the top up and coming coaches, young coaches in Louisiana, takes over a program that has been one of the most dominant pretty much the last decade. When you look at LCA and the number of state championships they've won, they won 4 in a row at one point, and they're going to have to replace one of the most productive players really in Louisiana high school football history, and that's Juwan Johnson. So you're saying, okay, like how are they going to replace that? and they got themselves a really good quarterback on the rise at LCA. So I think LCA is going to be just fine. I mean, they got a really talented signal caller. They got really talented offensive weapons, and the offense is going to be still really good, really explosive this year for the Knights. They play a really tough schedule this year, but it's going to be interesting to watch. I mean, Brandon Walker is a quarterback that's replacing Juwan Johnson. Got to see him last year in mop up duty when they played Turlings Catholic, and he's the real deal. So they're going to be just fine offensively. They got some weapons, a lot of guys that we've offered to play in the Gridiron Football American Bowl game. So LCA's got a tough matchup though. They got Archbishop Rummel. Rummel, you saw what kind of season they had. It was an up and down season, right? They start off the season 4-6, but they beat some of the top teams in the state. You know that year, U High early on, and they actually made a deep playoff push. They made it all the way to the semifinals. They're one game away from going to the Superdome. So that was a great coaching job by Frank Monica. And yeah, they returned their quarterback as well, Gerald Buggage. He returns for them. So this is going to be a really good test for both teams to see where they're really at. Rummel really had a Cinderella run last year to get to the semifinals. LCA, you're replacing one of the most productive players in really the state's history in Jawan Johnson. It's going to be a really fun task. I mean, for LCA uh, to go on the road against Rummel. In this game, I'm gonna go with Rummel here, and the reason why I think it's some of that experience, right? You turn your quarterback, head coach, and I think some of that camaraderie, some of that experience in week one. Now, if you tell me later in the season, I think I'll change my mind there. But knowing how experienced Rummel is coming back, and some of the guys that are coming off that semifinal appearance, give me Rummel to win a close game there. Another game, St. Charles Catholic and Newman. This was a game that, I mean, the last couple of years, it went St. Charles Catholic's way. I mean, St. Charles Catholic reached the state championship game 5 straight times. Uh, and when Frank Monica stepped down, one of the greatest high school football coaches in Louisiana, you're trying to figure out, okay, like how can they continue to carry that on? And it's amazing what his nephew Wayne Stein has done. I mean, really given this program, sending it to a whole different level is what he's been able to do. It's been amazing. It's been amazing to watch them really grow. They've had one of their best senior classes that they graduate now. When they played this game in years past, I think the last time Newman did win was 2020. That was when Archie Manning was a quarterback, but this was a really a game for Newman that's been really tough to really overcome over the years. St. Charles Catholics really had their number, but I think this year, knowing how young St. Charles Catholic is, and I really do believe that this is, even though they did graduate Arch Manning, right? I really thought last year was Nelson Silver's best team. And Eli Friend's been a as good of a replacement you can find, especially following a guy like Arch Manning. Eli Friend's been a really good player for this program. But not only, with Newman, they're always going to have really good quarterback play. But what sets the difference between this Newman team is their physicality. And I saw it last year in the Jamboree against St. Martin. So this team's going to be physical. They're going to run the football. Jake Randall is their running back. They're going to run behind Brett Bordelon, who's an LSU commit on the offensive line. Their defense is very physical. I like Newman. I think this is as good as a chance Newman can have to beat St. Charles Catholic. And even though St. Charles Catholic is going to be in the thick of things when you go towards the end of the season, they're still going to be contending for a state championship. I'm never going to doubt Coach Wayne Stein, his coaching staff. They're going to get this team right. But I think right now, just their youth and experience graduating the greatest senior class in the history of the program, I think that I'm going to give the edge to Newman to pull that one out. All right, another matchup we can talk about is Edna Carr and Archbishop Shaw. So with this game with Edna Carr and Shaw, I like Edna Carr. I mean, I said heading to the season that Edna Carr is one of the top two or three programs in Louisiana. And I mean, just how good they've really been. Um, over the years. I see them in the spring, and they're just deep everywhere. I mean, they really don't have a major flaw, a major weakness. They're good at all levels in the defense, good in the secondary, good at linebackers. The defensive lines probably are going to be the best in the state. When you have Corey Adams, Richard Anderson on the defensive line, move to the offensive side, got a big O line. Quarterback is really good as well. So yeah, give me in the car. I mean, they got really good weapons, man child, Francis to throw the football to. Even though I like Shaw, I mean, obviously when Hank Tierney did last year was a great first impression, even though he's back at Shaw. And you can see that the program is back at a great spot. When Hank Tierney was winning state championships for this team and competing for state championships for his team and this program back in the 80s and the 90s. So he's bringing that he's bringing that back, and you can see that pride being restored. And they got a lot of talent. I like to call Shaw right now Michigan South because they do have two commits right now in Jasper Parker and Jacob Washington. They are both committed to the Wolverines right now. I think it's gonna be a high scoring game, but I just don't think right now, week one, Shaw will compete for a deep playoff run. I do believe. I think they can go to the semifinals, make a deep run in the playoffs. But give me and the car to pull things out. I think in a higher scoring game, like 45-31, 45-35. Yeah, give me and the car to win this one. And then the last one I'll talk about is Catholic, and I got two more. Catholic and Destrehan. So that is the biggest game. Everybody's pretty much got circled on their calendar, and it's a big one, right? I mean, two of the top programs in Baton Rouge. Is going to be, I mean, not in Baton Rouge area, but two of the top teams in South Louisiana. These are two 5A programs that will compete for state championships year in, year out. Catholic, I mean, both teams have question marks. Catholic, they have to replace Daniel Beal, who was a great program, great at Catholic High, now with the Raging Cajuns, and they got a quarterback system going on right now in Turner Goldsmith and Baylor Graves. And really, I saw them in the Jamboree, and I thought they were able to manage both guys pretty well for the most part. But this is a good overall team for Catholic High. They got three really good running backs, including a sophomore, and Jay Miles, who's getting offered by everybody. Ole Miss, Florida State. I mean, a lot of the big programs in the country. They got one of the best offensive lines in the country, Irv Smith, Louisiana Tech commit, is leading the way. And Blaze Thomasy, he's getting offers from pretty much everybody up front on the offensive line. You got Amari Clayton to throw the football to. He's a Nickel State commit. So defensively, they're really nasty. Really good secondary, and really good secondary. And even though Destrehan has a really good wide receiving core, probably the best in the state. I mean, led by Philip Wright at wide receiver. This is still going to be I think Catholic's able to hold their own here. They're going to be able to establish the line of scrimmage. Destrehan's offense is very explosive. Jackson Fields is the quarterback for the Wildcats. But I think they're going to be able to play ground control. The secondary is going to hold up when they need to, even though that is probably the best receiving core in the state of Louisiana. So give me Catholic High to win this game. They've always been pretty good in their season openers. They got a really tough schedule, especially non-district before they start district play. So give me the Catholic High Bears. I think it's going to be a sloppy game at first because of how big this game really is. But I think both teams are going to find their rhythm in the second half. But give me Catholic High to win 21-17. It's going to be, I think it's going to be that type of football game, a defensive battle. But I think it's going to overall be a really good game with two really good programs. And yeah, another game to talk about is probably two more, really three more games, because I forgot about the two in North Louisiana to briefly talk about, and that's Oak Grove and Calvary Baptist. Oak Grove and Calvary Baptist, these are two defending state champions. These are both teams with a state championship quarterback, really good quarterback play. Oak Grove's got Jackson Bradley, who's committed to the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs. And then the Calvary Baptist Cavaliers have Abram Wardell. Oak Grove has a really explosive offense. Jay Freeman comes back on the offensive side. Calvary Baptist, they got themselves a really good running back, one of the top players in the country, James Simon, who's committed to the Texas Longhorns. So expect a lot of offense here, but give me Calvary Baptist. I think they're one of the top teams, regardless of classification, when we talk about it. So they add, I feel like even though as good as they were last year, I think they're able to I think they're actually going to be better this year. I really do. I really do like this Calvary Baptist team. I think they're going to rely on James Simon. Devin Harper comes in as a transfer from Captain Shreve. He is an LSU commit. Caleb Tucker comes in from Huntington. He's one of the best receivers in the area. So I think Calvary's one of the best pound for pound teams out there in the state of Louisiana. I think they're even better this year than last year. Oak Grove's going to continue to contend for a state championship. I know Jackson Broward is going to try to reach, I believe, three out of 4 years, win a state championship over there for Oak Grove. So, yeah, give me Calvary Baptist. These are two of the top programs. Both these two teams are defending state champions. But I just like right now Calvary a little bit better than Oak Grove at this point in the year. And we've seen Oak Grove get off to some slow starts in years past, but we obviously seen how they've been able to finish. So give me Calvary Baptist, but it should be a really good football game. Should be a high scoring game as well. And then another top game in North Louisiana I want to talk about is Evangel Christian and Neville, and that's going to be a really good football game as well. It's going to be the unstoppable force versus the immovable object. That classic matchup, right? Great offense versus great defense. Evangel has Pop Houston, one of the top quarterbacks in the country in the class of 2027. And you look on the other side, Neville has one of the top defenses in the state as well. So that is going to be a very fun matchup. Neville's got Juju Burns. They got Brody Watley, who's committed to TCU. These are Division One players, and we've got finally get to see Pop Houston, who's one of the top quarterbacks out there in the country. I know him and Elijah Haven will have a really good battle to see who's that top quarterback in the state in 2027. So right now, I like Neville. I think they're going to be the more really balanced team just overall, offensively, defensively. So that's going to be a really fun game. You love those matchups, but I love the defense usually comes out in these type of games a little bit more. I think the difference is going to be the running game for Neville. Get Jalen Nichols involved. He's one of those underrated running backs in the state of Louisiana, especially in North Louisiana. So keep Pop Houston off the field, keep that offense off the field. So give me Neville. That's their best way, best chance of winning this game too. That way they can keep Pop Houston off the field, control the time of possession, because you definitely don't want to be, if it becomes a shootout, there's no way that Neville's going to be able to hang with Evangel. But if they're able to limit the possessions for Evangel, I think that's going to be their biggest key. So I like Neville in this one, but it's going to be a really fun game. So give me Neville on that. And then two more games to talk about, Acadiana and Ruston. These are two of the top 5A teams. This is one of the best, really week one slates. I mean, there's so many games you can pick, so many games that you can go to, that you can't go wrong with, and this is one that you can't go wrong with, right? Acadiana and Ruston, two of the top 5A programs out there in Louisiana. These are two teams that will be contending for state championships. Ruston, they have a really good quarterback as well, who led in Jonathan Brantley. He is going to be a really key factor for this Ruston offense too. So yeah, they got the running back as well for Ruston coming back too. So this is a really experienced backfield. Aiden Anning is also a key player. You know, the LSU commit in the secondary, one of the fastest players in the state. He can really change the game in any given play. And Acadiana on the other side, right? They got the Dibetta brothers, Colin and Caden, and They have a really good wide receiver in Russell Babineau too. So this is probably one of their best passing offenses they've ever had because they've run the split back veer and everything at Acadiana. So yeah, this is going to be a really fun matchup, right? I mean, you're talking about Acadiana, we're talking about Ruston. These are two ground and pound teams. It's going to be a lower scoring game. I think it's going to be a defensive game, but it's going to be a fun football game where you're going to see a lot of really good football. Give me Ruston to win this one, 21-14. And it's going to be one of those quick games because both these two teams, they like to run the football. They like to rely on the ground game. So give me Ruston. I think Ruston heading to the year, I have them and the car as my best two teams, regardless of classification. So give me Ruston to win this one, but Acadiana is going to be right there. They got themselves a really good defense too. So it's going to be fun to watch when you have these two programs of this high quality. And I think the travel is going to make a difference too. Acadiana is going to have to go on the road to play against Ruston, so that's not a great drive. So knowing that is the case, I'm going to go with Ruston. I like Josh Brantley, their quarterback. I like Jordan Hayes, a running back, as well. I think having that backfield back is going to help Ruston here. So give me Ruston to win this one. I do believe that they are the top team coming back from the state from last year because I think this is the most balanced they've ever been offensively, defensively. So give me the Bearcats to win that one. And then finally, I'll go with one more: St. Thomas More and Karen Crow. That's going to be really fun. Chance Babineau is one of the top players in the state. I remember talking to Coach Corville a couple of years ago, and Chance Babineau was somebody that he raved about. And he coached Kevin Falk back in his early days at Karen Crow. So he said that he's the best freshman he's coached since him. That's some high praise right there. Chance Babineau started his career off as a wide receiver, has moved to quarterback, and had an all-state year as a quarterback. So Karen Crow is going to be very explosive. St. Thomas More, they got themselves a really good quarterback too in Cole Bergeron. There's going to be a lot of points being scored between both these two programs. So you won't be surprised if it's 49-42, 45-41. It's going to be one of those games. Whoever has the football last is going to win. I'm going to give the slight edge, a little mini upset. I'm going to go with Karen Crow in a mini upset just because of that experience, right? Cole Bergeron's a very talented quarterback, and we're going to see it a lot this year. But I like the experience coming back from Karen Crow's defense and the key pieces. Chance Babineau's played a lot of games. So on a slight edge, a mini upset, I would say Karen Crow over St. Thomas More, but wouldn't shock me at all. St. Thomas More, they prove that every year they're going to contend for a state championship no matter who's that quarterback because it just seems like again they get a really good quarterback each and every year, and the system continues. So it's going to be a fun game, high scoring game, but that one can go either way. So that's my week one preview, and obviously those are a lot of really good games going on in week one. We're going to recap some of those games next week on next week's show. And yeah, I mean, hopefully y'all enjoyed this episode of Ballin in Da Boot. Next week, we're going to get some of our writers to come and talk about the games that they've covered this past week. And then we'll also give a recap and talk about some of these games that happened over the weekend. So stay tuned. And then coming up next, we'll have our second segment of Ballin in Da Boot. You get a chance to catch up with Kenneth and Tony from Louisiana Prospects as they're going to talk about some flag football and some middle school football. But this is our high school segment of Ballin in Da Boot. Hello, everyone. This is Jace LeJeune from Gridiron Football. This is going to be episode number 2, of course, of Ballin in Da Boot. If you just missed our first segment, make sure you go back and watch it. We talk about some high school football, jamborees, football seasons about to get kicked off. We're seeing a couple of scrimmages and a couple of jamborees as well. So we're really excited about the season starting this year. And then also when we have Ball in the Boot, you're going to catch up each and every week, not only with the tackle side of things, but also the flag side of things. Of course, our guys, Tony and Kenneth from Louisiana Prospects, a great flag football organization, are going to come and discuss flag football as it's growing each and every year. And that's why we have it. So we're not only talking about the flag football, but we're also talking some middle school football to help promote the junior high All-American Bowl game at the end of the year. But guys, great to be back for another week. I know this is going to be a weekly thing. And anything that we've missed from our last conversation that we talked about on the flag football circuit for y'all? Get starting with Tony. You want to start?
Hey, just training camp, Jace. We actually kicked off our season this week. We did our training camp, so had our 6U, 8U, and 12U this week. We have our 10U tonight. We do this evening. So getting ready to kick off our fall season. Excited about that. Get through this week. We'll have our draft Saturday. And everybody know what team they're on Sunday. And like I say, just excited to start another NFL season. It's our first fall season in 3 years. So happy to start it. And we got 3 females that joined us, 2 new females that joined us. And had a race last night. And man, talk about speed. I love the female side of the flag sport and its growth. So excited to see those young ladies get going this fall.
They said they've been doing track for 7 years, man.
Oh, wow.
When I say burners, I mean burners.
I mean, flag football, usually we go with tackle football. Sometimes it's more about the power and just overwhelming the opponent that way. Flag football, it seems like it's all about finesse, speed, quickness.
Right.
The faster you are, the quicker you are, the more elusive you are, that's the more successful you're going to be.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, especially with the way that the game is played. So flag football, as we talked about last week, it's played mainly on a 25 by 70-yard field. With 2 10-yard end zones. So it's a little bit of a smaller field compared to your usual tackle field. So it really does rely on that ability to hone in on that speed and that elusiveness to get you extra yards on the field, especially with there not being any tackling that's going to be taking place. So a lot of it's got to come with your hips, your speed, what kind of moves are you making, different things like that.
Yeah, so 5-on-5, correct?
Yes.
Flag football. So you talked about the field dimensions and the quarter. So we're going to have basically a 12-minute, 2 12-minute halves, correct?
Yep.
Non-stop clock run, correct? Okay.
Correct. Yep. Only on timeouts. 2 12-minute halves and 1-minute halftime. And it's, balls to the wall after that. It's fast-paced. I mean, you gotta execute every opportunity you get, man. Because like I said, it's similar to arena football with no contact. It's just fast paced. So you want to make every opportunity, every possession, everything has to count for you.
So when we talk about flag, I always like to compare to the tackle side of the fence, right? There's always rule changes going on. Like the NFL, they add the kickoff change, and I know that's for the Gridiron Football Bowl game. That's the kickoff that we use as well. Talk about some of the changes, some things that are going to be different this year compared to other years for flag football. I'm going to start with you, Kenneth, and you want to elaborate, Tony, you can as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So flag football, for especially NFL flag, it's definitely been more so. It's very focused on the development of players, as we talked about last week, as they continue to progress throughout 7-on-7 and then going into tackle. With that, they continue to watch the different things that are modernizing the game on different circuits, things like that, the NFL and RCX sports as a whole. And a thing that, kind of opens up the playbook for teams, and things that they've seen is allowing, some passes behind the line of scrimmage, allowing pitches, different things like that. I'm a personal fan of it. I mean, from an offensive standpoint, that really lets you stretch that defense a little bit more. Different things are possible. Okay, you can pass that ball behind the line, get you into a Dixie, throwing it further downfield now. It lets you do a few more things offensively. Defensively, switched it up a little bit. So that rusher that we talked about last week that comes from 7 yards, they're switching to having that rusher kind of identify themselves before the snap. So that rusher will be lined up at 7, and they have to have their hand raised at least kind of 1 second before that ball is snapped, which gives the offense a little bit of an advantage It helps the offense in terms of knowing who's rushing. But what it also talks about, remember we talked about that impeding the rush last week.
Yeah.
It helps the offense know who's coming, and so they can ensure that they're staying out of that way of that rusher and avoiding that impeding the rush call.
Yeah, and what do you think about that, impeding the rusher?
That's been a controversial call since we started playing NFL flag circuit. So that new rule change, I definitely think that helps both offense and defense, and maybe it'll minimize the penalty and leave less confusion, right?
Yeah.
Offensively, hey, like you said, you can make your decision. Make sure you don't come close to that path of the rusher. All right, and look, they know who's rushing now. So offensively, quarterback, right? You pre snap read. Okay, I know who's blitzing now. So look, I got a chance to audible now or change a play or just make sure I make the right decision for my team put us in a successful situation. So.
I think it's also really going to push these defenses and these coaches, especially, like you said, rec league is continuing. This is pushing the rec level to become more competitive now, too, which is going to create that competitive level to be more competitive. So a lot of these teams, especially on this recreational level, they run a zone concept.
Okay.
So a lot of teams run just cover 3 principles. They'll play, one high safety, corners playing their deep thirds, sets like that. Well, when you run, like I mentioned, when you run these Dixies and things like that, if you're not executing that properly and you send that rusher, you're forced to go man now. So everybody's got to man up with somebody because now your quarterback's released and who wasn't accounted for.
Right.
So it's really starting to up that defensive level, and I think you're going to see that gap start to create itself come 2025 for NFL flag.
Yeah. More guys will be more creative with defensive calls and just stunts or just
disguising coverages.
All that stuff. So absolutely, I look forward to be a competitive season on the circuit with travel. So.
Yes.
Well, there's always a saying, right? Defense wins championships, offense sells tickets.
Right.
Yeah.
But in flag football, is that really true? Is it true about defense? Would you rather have a better defense in flag football, or would you rather have a very strong offense? Because it seems like it's a more high-flying type of football. So, is that
I know he's about to mention what he thinks before he does. So, like we mentioned last time, Tony went to Southeastern.
Oh yeah, defensive guy, right?
Defensive guy.
Yeah.
I think we're flipped on this one though.
Oh, okay.
I think you're more.
So y'all going to debate each side then.
Yeah.
So offense.
I'm an offensive guy through and through, but I'm a believer that in flag you need defense.
Oh, okay.
As much as I push for offense and I'm all for the concepts and making sure we have a high power in offense, I'm for defense. But I wanted to let him go first, but I just wanted to to touch on that before.
Being a former Southeastern DB, what do you think of that?
For some reason, with the 5v5 and this style of football, I'm going to go offense, Jace.
Wow, okay. The defense guy saying offense.
I got to go offense, and not to take anything away from the defensive side, but this game is just so fast, and you have to have a high-power offense. You got to have a good quarterback and good receivers, and you have to score every time. You literally have to score to keep your team in a comfortable situation. A split second, a second. Every second, every minute counts. So I want to maximize the offensive side. When it comes to this debate, hey guys, we got to score every time. Give me an offense. Let's work. Let's train. Let's practice. It's score every time. Quick 6 every time.
Wow.
Yeah. So
piggybacking off of Tony on the offensive side, defensive side of things. As like I said, offense. As we continue to do this travel set, I've had to also adapt. He's adapted to, learning more on the offensive set for flag and just in general. And I've been more adapted to learning the defensive sets in general. And, us bringing that back to teaching these kids and helping them develop on both sides of that ball. When it comes to defense and flag, you can have a great quarterback. You can. But when you have teams that are coming out and let's say you have a team that's showing too high, and hey, we talk about pre-snap reads, identifying coverage, and you got 2 high safeties, 3 across the middle, but then you got that middle guy that comes down to rush, and that second safety that drops back down to the middle, and now they're playing a cover 3, and if you don't have a disciplined quarterback that can see that, okay, now they went 3. Okay, what's my read now? And you're going to that flat.
Yeah.
It changes things up here and what you're looking for. And on the tail end of things, it's all about pulling flags.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you can't pull flags, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
You have to be able to pull flags. We spend about 45 minutes pulling flags each practice. So flag pulling's a big part.
Yeah, I mean it's big. You got to score points because you got to score more than the other team, obviously.
Right.
But at the same time, you need to make those stops. I mean,
we
covering LSU last year.
Yes.
You know, like you can score every time they touch the ball. A lot of times LSU did and still lost. So you just never know. You need a little bit best of both.
We recently learned we got to start teaching. We've run zone a long time. Even on the competitive side, we're finally kind of. We need to start running man now.
Yeah.
Like, because you can run man, and you have 4 receivers total on the field because you have your quarterback. So you have 5 players on defense. So now you have 4 receivers that are manned up, and then you can either play a high safety or get a speed demon in there, and you send in the rush at the quarterback,
every time.
make a play, pick a receiver, and if everybody's doing their right coverage, banjo, and then that somebody's covered. So it's definitely hand in hand. There's no doubt. There's no clear winner for that discussion. I believe, but I definitely think it's a very controversial topic.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the position on defense? Since you're for defense, what's the key? Like, normally, your linebackers or your leaders on the tackle side, or you got a safety. That's the guy that leads the defense, right? Mm-hmm. In 5v5 flag format, who's that guy that's focal for you on defense?
For me, it's my linebacker. It is.
Okay.
I've seen coaches that it's their safety because they'll bring their safety down. They'll kind of play the middle a little bit because a lot of teams like to hit it short. I like a linebacker because he's everywhere around your
lateral.
He's lateral. He's got his rusher. He's got him. He's got 2 corners. If we change the defensive coverage and we're disguised, we can left to right corners. We know what's going on. My linebacker is always going to be that player that's going to be my best flag puller. Anything that goes in the middle, if you miss something easy over the middle, that's a 12-yard gain. So my flag puller's got to be well-disciplined, pull flags, and he's got to know the IQ. Yeah. What you think?
I was going to go with the rusher.
Okay.
You get your, just say good rusher like we saw in Tampa, Miami flag, like a disciplined rusher that understands angles, how the quarterback moves when he's rushing, if he misses, if he turns this way. Because if you got a guy that can rush like coming 100 miles an hour every time,
right?
All right, 100 miles an hour every time, and just creating havoc and pressure every time, every play.
And then you're running man too, right?
And I just think that changes the whole floor of the game for the offense. You got a guy constantly putting pressure on your quarterback.
That's a good point because even if you are in man, that rusher's still doing the same thing, whether it's rusher or man, so they can still, So
I think either middle, nothing's wrong with the linebacker either. I think it's those 2 guys, the rusher or the linebacker. So. Yeah.
So can the quarterback, if he gets pressured and he's trying to escape the rusher, right? Can he take off and run, or what's
not unless he's gotten a handoff from another receiver. So if they have an back there and they give it to him, he can scramble in the pocket.
Oh, okay.
He just can't cross the line. So quarterbacks will do a little jab step move and then they'll spin out the other way. And if you don't have a disciplined rusher, your quarterback's going this way and your rusher's on the other team's sideline.
So just like y'all set up right now, the center snaps it to Ken, and he gives it to you.
Okay.
Now you can run or pass.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we won't make the transitions because I know a popular topic is flag football in the Olympics.
Right.
But the Team USA is doing pretty good, right? Yeah. Recently taking gold at the World Games held in Birmingham, Alabama, led by the quarterback Daryl House Duquette. Is it Duquette? Doucette.
Yeah,
okay, Hoosh. Okay. So, what's your reactions to that? Because I know that's kind of a good step forward as we get into the Olympics in 2028.
So,
it's always good seeing them succeed. Go ahead.
Yeah. Lot of controversy going now. Of course, with the topic of Hoosh and the quarterback scenario, but. My take on that, is just I see it from both angles, right? You have your USA team.
Yep.
Look, I totally agree with Hoosh's statement. These guys have helped, and along with others, have helped build this game and get it to the level and tier it's at now. I think he's just misunderstood right now. How it goes.
Oh yeah, right.
And just getting news sometimes. he made a point about
NFL guys.
just being that he thinks he's a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes, but he simply was just saying, hey, I'm better at the flag
game
than Mahomes would be.
And when you look at some of those clips of Hoosh, I mean, I think we got one for you. But I mean, the way that he can just single-handedly make plays is, I mean, that takes in its own ability and its own talent.
Yeah. So in case y'all worrying about what's going on, Hoosh has a quote about it. I'm sure it's all over social media, so it's all over the place. But this is the quote. He says, "I think it's disrespectful that they just automatically assume that they're able to just join the Olympics team because of the person that they are. They didn't help grow this game to get to the Olympics. Give the guys who helped this game get to where it's in their perspective." So in his point of view, it makes sense.
Right.
They grew the game.
Right.
Those are the guys that brought it to the Olympics.
Right.
Now you go flip on the other side of the coin. This game, could go to maybe a whole new level if you get the NFL guys involved on the flag side of things. So, or are y'all more in favor of Team USA being represented in the Olympics, or y'all more in favor, hey, the NFL guys, you got the Pro Bowl involved with the flag football, you want to get the star power names out there and grow flag football that way?
I think those names that are interested. I mean, you have guys that are for the youth side of it all right now. I mean, you got Justin Jefferson that's for it. I mean, you even got Nick Saban that's advocating for NFL flag now. I mean, you have these guys that are pushing for the sport because they see the growth that it has. But you also have these guys that, I mean, people are just now hearing about these guys' names, but they've been doing this. They've been doing this. Like it's not like they just started doing this 2 years ago. They've been doing this for 4+ years. I mean, to continually work at a sport, it's not even a job now. It's a craft. It's something that is his personality. That is him. I mean, you got teams that are like, hey man, like I will pay you to come play for me. Like we just want to go and win. Like you got players that are, come on man, like it's gotten to that level. And I think when you look at the Olympics, like yes, these guys have built this game up. Like they're there. Yes, everybody's gonna be older. It's gonna be 4 years down the road. You got guys that are 34 right now. I mean, they'll be 38 then. But you have to shine light on the people that are continuing to advocate and build the sport and succeed in it.
Right. Totally agree. I just, my thing is they, like Ken said, they help build the they help build this flag family, this flag game, right? And just to possibly take it away from them, after all the years and grind and the winnings, right? They ain't just playing, they're winning at a high level right now already. I mean, before we even talk about the pros, so at least I would consider, hey, let's maybe mix it, maybe. Like, don't discredit these USA guys, right?
Right.
But let's say, give us some of y'all guys that are athlete guys that are good. Let's maybe see if we can bring it together, and build something together, at the least.
Right. Well, this should be a topic maybe for another show, but maybe we could start brainstorming and thinking, okay, in 2028, what NFL guys would y'all want to put out there for representing Team USA?
Right.
So that might be a topic for another show and talk about that. Now moving on to the next topic. So, different aspects of the game that different from tackle. So that you believe in the future could actually give flag football the upper hand, even though tackle football has really held serve for hundreds of years.
Yeah. Like we were just, showing y'all with Hoosh and the way that he can move and craft the game on the field. There's a difference with tackle and flag. Tackle, you got a much larger area to attack than you do in flag. Plain and simple. Flag, you have 2 flags on your hips. That's what you're going for. That's all you're at. And with those flags on your hips, they are easy to manipulate, easy to take advantage of the game. And so you have these guys that are continuing to work in the game, and they have these moves out now that they're showing them on ESPN, and these kids they're on YouTube, TikTok, and you see the kids trying to learn them. They have one called the dip. It's just a lunge. While you're running, it's basically just a lunge. You're running, you lunge down. What it's doing is it's taking those flags out at your hips and it's lowering them down. You saw Hoosh, he did literally just a squat. I don't know what that one's called.
Just a dip.
I think it was just a dip, just straight down. So you have that, and then you have just a regular spin move. Flags on your hips, you're spinning. I'm missing one more.
You said the duck walk, right?
I didn't say the duck walk.
Yep, duck walk.
So
Okay.
yeah, and then you have the duck walk. So it's an extension of that dip, bringing the flags down a level, but we're bringing it out some more. So these kids are learning these moves now. I mean, and we're seeing kids at 10, 11, 12 that are starting to dip, and it's like, oh man, your knees, like your knees. But that's that advantage that flag is giving these guys, and it takes time to learn. I mean, it's hard to work your hips and to do the hip flip and put them to the side. Like these tackle guys, it's going to be a learning gap, Jace. It is.
Oh yeah, I tell you, it would be really fun if he played flag. Would be watching Barry Sanders trying to evade guys and juke guys. He made tackle guys look silly. Imagine what it would be like playing flag football.
Oh man.
That's actually a great transition. I know we talked about maybe it's a topic for a different show to build your own team, but it might give a little preview of that.
Right.
So for the both of y'all each get a chance to say, I'll start with Tony here first. If you're only able to add 2 players, let's just say what we were talking about earlier, right? 2 NFL guys, 1 offensive guy, 1 defensive guy to the current roster for Team USA. What 2 guys from the NFL that you're selecting to make that transition?
So quarterback. We were talking about this at some point.
But you got Hoosh.
Yeah. But bring another quarterback on.
Okay.
I would go. I go Lamar Jackson.
Oh, okay. That's smart.
Lamar Jackson.
That's smart.
A little RPO game.
Yeah. I mean, I think he kind of, he fits into that same style as Hoosh. Now, hey, the move part, I think he would adjust easy to starting to flip his hips, that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Defense. Cornerback.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Cornerbacks. How about Derek Stingley?
Okay.
Good one.
Get some LSU flavor there.
Yeah. Derek Stingley, still young in his career, and hey, definitely a good cover corner.
Yeah, because you also got to think about 2028. So what these guys 4 years from now.
Yeah. True that.
I'm thinking. I like the RPO. That was just kind of the first thought that came in my head when you said Lamar. It's just instant like RPO, like riding it out, quarterback going another quarterback route. Going from the offensive side of it all, I think Travis Kelce would probably be the way I'd lean. Just because I'm looking for a tall, dominant receiver that I can I can throw in the back corner of the end zone, or I can use to run. You can't run screens, but you can run a receiver out of corner and run something underneath them and just kind of sit there and give it to somebody to go. So things like that, that's sure hands. I mean, everybody on this team is going to be somebody you can throw it to, but I think a guy like that also he brings energy, and you got to have an energy guy on your team.
I think that's a good point too. Just thinking about the actual USA team, flag team. Think about Bruce Mapp, right?
Right, big dude,
big guy, big target, and it's not many passes he drops.
Right,
it's not many people that can go up with him because he has that big body and just big hands.
Yes,
so definitely you want to have your big body.
Because like we said, a lot of these Team USA players, they are on the smaller. Some of them are on the smaller side of weight and height. Maybe not so much height, but weight part. So because they're more elusive and they're more agile and shit. So pairing that up with somebody, it could be a little bit of a disruption. Defensively, guy that I like to see play on both sides of the ball, Michael Parsons for sure.
Oh yeah,
I think he's just an athlete, man. Oh, what? Come on now. Oh yeah, that's my middle guy. That's my center. Like he's like we're getting the ball to Micah, man. I think it's definitely adding some bulk to the team, but I think
that can move.
Right, that can move. Mike Parsons. I mean, I'd even give him my hand off, bro. Like he
do everything.
He's just an athlete. I'd snap it to him and give it to Hoosh and just, hey, let's just. So like the adults, when you're going down the field, that chemistry thing that we didn't really touch on it, but hey, when they're running down the field, they're looking for their next receiver and they're pitching it to him, and it just turns into a game of just like hot potato, really. Like everybody's just pitching the ball back to each other, and so when you got guys like that can just mesh and just, hey, I'm right behind you, hey, right here, pitch, go, let's go, all right, move, hey, pitch.
I remember the first time seeing that in Southern Miss does a big tournament in November, and we played Fighting Kansas the first game, and this is my second year in the flag, and hey, a guy throw a quick pass and he runs down the field, right? All of a sudden, man, we all cramped up. Whoop, just flipped it off. Never seen it before. But these guys had so much chemistry, man, and just the team cohesiveness, man. It was a sight to see. So that's what we talk about too with these NFL guys, like coming, like the way you can manipulate this game versus the style of play of tackle. It's totally different.
What did you think about the whole pitching thing? Like just you see somebody pitching it down the field.
Yeah, like what is going on here? It's gonna be a lot to take used to, and with the NFL guys, and I love how they're incorporating it in the Pro Bowl. I think that's the right move for them to do something like that, not get hurt, and also make it entertaining for the fans. So
nothing else sucks than pulling a flag. Like I got him. See the ball, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, but maybe a dynamic like you're talking about, Hoosh and Lamar Jackson in the backfield at the same time. You can throw or run. That would be pretty scary to have.
It doesn't matter who take Dixon.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter to have them both in the backfield.
You put Lamar at safety, or you putting Hoosh?
That doesn't matter either one.
Yeah. I run a man anyway.
Yeah.
And having a guy maybe like Tyreek Hill out there. See what he would do.
Didn't even think about it, man.
He's on the list too.
Yep, he's up there.
Next episode we can go full.
Next episode we might go for a whole
draft
whole team and see if for Team USA. Now let's talk about some middle school football. So middle school football is cranking up as well, and obviously we're going to our third year of a gridiron football junior high All-American game, and I know Kenneth and Tony are going to be scouting a lot of middle schools and some guys that can play in the middle school game. So just talk about football starting really this week. Maybe y'all going to certain areas and certain teams, and just kind of what's the plan for this year.
So definitely we have the schedules, most of them in the Central Parish right now. So we have some scrimmages starting this week.
Yeah.
Some middle school scrimmages, so actually high school scrimmages, freshmen.
Oh yeah.
Had scrimmages this week too.
Yeah, I went today.
But middle school this week. Then we got St. Amal having a scrimmage this week. We got jamborees the following week. The middle school jamborees coming up the following week. So definitely be a booked out schedule from Central Parish, Baton Rouge, possibly across the river.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it. I know for sure, just based on our league we run and tournaments we host in Central Parish, man, there's a lot of young talent.
Oh yeah.
From the receiver standpoint, cornerback, and just overall athletes that we know that reside within the Central Parish.
Yes.
And me being from Baton Rouge, we know that's a talent pool.
Oh yeah.
In Baton Rouge, man, just with all the athletes out there. So. Definitely look forward to hitting the ground this week, next week, and building that momentum and getting to these middle school games and exposing the talent we have as a whole.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, exactly like he put it. I mean, it's gonna be a great experience for us as well as we continue to work and partner with y'all as an organization as well.
Sure.
Just being able to get that opportunity to go out to these games and kind of watch what's going on, but also give those kids that experience of just kind of talking one-on-one with them and seeing, hey, what'd you think about how you played this game? What was going through your mind here? And we just like evaluating and just picking the kid's brain, because that IQ is always really, talent separates the kids on the field. That IQ is what's going to separate them off the field, and you got to have that IQ, man.
Well, guys, any closing remarks? Anything about Louisiana prospects coming up? And I know there's going to be a lot of parents, a lot of kids that watch this. So, what's basically how they can get in contact with y'all. I'm going to continue to promote that for y'all as we continue this partnership. But how can they contact y'all and try to get involved with Louisiana Prospects?
Absolutely. We have our Facebook page. It's like our number one, source. You can message us on there. We have updates of what's coming. We have our website, laprospectsllc.com. Right now, we're starting our fall season. That's done. We'll have some updates coming up about a one-day week training. We just do sports agility, training speed, and just overall just football like drills and just understanding concept of offense and defense. It's basic fundamentals, just kind of give guys just some extra work, to get ready for our season or just whatever football style they're playing. It covers both tackle and flag too. But we have that coming. Also, we have our late fall league coming in November. You can bring your own team for this one. We actually just added another division to this. We have the competitive, right? 6U, 8, 10, 12. All right, we got a 6U air it out. This is where the coaches play quarterback.
Okay.
We had it was requested, right? So Ken, we sitting there talking, and Ken said, let's just do it. Let's do the 6U air it out, man. Let the coaches come through.
Okay.
So this is gonna be those coaches can put that little 6U teams together.
That's awesome.
Come out there and battle it out for 4 weeks, man. We'll have a little end of the season playoff and Super Bowl event.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to that, especially that 6U air it out division.
I'm still waiting on the 14U air it out division.
Sam might be out there. Andy's son, Sam might be out there playing some.
Let's go.
For you. So.
Hey, Andy, bring him on out there. Yeah, absolutely. And we'll end November 23rd, 24th. We'll have our gathering tournament. We do. It's our third annual gathering tournament. We're considering bringing the air it out to that on the Friday night. We may just have a little fun. Okay. And have different divisions where the coaches can play quarterback, have a little fun. And Saturday, Sunday. Saturday we do some pool play, do some games, and on Sunday we'll go on the bracket play. Be playing just for bragging rights and championship rings, holiday ring. Hopefully we can bring that on the episode.
Show it off. Show off your ring. We'll show off our rings for the bowl game. So we'll show off a lot of bling.
Absolutely. But definitely a lot coming up with football. With us, Gridiron Sports. Looks to be a busy year.
Heading to New Orleans in October.
October 26th.
October.
I'm sorry.
I couldn't remember the date. Yep, headed to New Orleans in October for that New Orleans regional for NFL flag. So.
So all NFL flag leagues, league operators, if you're watching and listening, hey, get your reg teams and get your travel teams ready. Hey, come out there, compete, expose the kids to something different, and let them compete for opportunity to go to Canton, Ohio, to the NFL Hall of Fame and play in that atmosphere, and get that exposure and experience, man. So. A lot going on.
Absolutely. Always.
Well, guys, you're going to have plenty of opportunities to come on the show and talk about what's coming up for Louisiana Prospects, and we'll definitely make sure to promote y'all all year long. So this is Ballin In Da Boot. Appreciate everybody that was on the show, the high school part, and then obviously Kenneth and Tony for joining us here today for Louisiana Prospects and talk about what's going on. Make sure to follow them on Facebook and on social media, and we'll see y'all next week. Football's getting started pretty much everywhere. Flag, middle school, high school, jamborees, scrimmages, you name it. It's all getting kicked off. So make sure to keep up with us on the prep side of things, and the young kids as well. Make sure to keep up with us on Ballin In Da Boot. This is Jace LeJeune from Gridiron Football. Sign off.